I didn't leave my office for 3 days after being hired. The director did not pay me any mind in this regard, and instead came to me for onboarding. Each time he appeared before me, I swear the floor and walls bent around him at more and more ominous angles. I still struggle to describe him in particular. On the first day, in a blindingly pale office that erased weather and color alike, the director stalked towards me with only a few pages. The pages crawled with skin and nails, the stench of burnt hair. The words written in dark, clotted blood. Focus, Michael. I closed my eyes, in hopes this was a trigger to release me, yet still they opened. The pages were normal. Just typeface on white paper. Warm, still, from hell. Before you, we lost rule writers daily. In some parts, this was due to their ineptitude in discerning rules. In others, they required firing. We believe that, since you survived rule breaching the winery, you may be more mentally suited for this than others. I was given access to subjects for each object. I was forbidden from interacting with them directly. The prompts they received were not to be written by me, but my computer would write them after I input test parameters. I was not to see the prompts themselves. We have more knowledge on some objects than others do to your predecessors. However, since they have all been ill-suited in one manner or another, we would like you to do this again blind. The steel cover on the large viewing window retreated. The containment room was odd. It was encased in white velvet, a personal mockery of me, whose skin has forgotten how to heal. This room was identical to the one I saw my brother burn in. Except, instead of Alexandria's last book, the central pillar had an indigo microphone resting obliviously on a cushion. It looked ordinary, with a button about a centimeter from the grill. I was grasping for an attempt to demonize this object to no avail. I looked at the black mirror of my computer monitor. I saw the reflection of a pitiful creature, skin gray as a dying man's hair and folded more than the most elegant of napkins. I pressed a key and the void retreated, giving me the mercy of not seeing the creature. I typed instructions into a terminal, hit enter, and a subject entered the containment room. I wanted so desperately to study their appearance. Was their flesh velvet or coarse? Did they have a tremor? But all I saw was the last face my brother made, one of terror and possession. His seared hair and nailless fingers. Good. Remember, the subject is a willing participant and will follow your instructions. Pay special mind to denote rule breaches as RB as outlined. Remember, RB. I selected a simple matrix. Press don't press, speak don't speak, set down don't set down. My fingers worried the skin beside my thumbnail. As instructed, they picked up the microphone and pressed the button on its body. Object, indigo microphone class, silly value, 1 rules, 1, do not press the button on the microphone while silent. RB 1.1, upon pressing the button on the indigo microphone while silent, subject 1's broca's area turned from green status to black. When asked to speak, they were, predictably, unable to. Their desperation was palpable. Eyes pinned, breaths sharp, panicked. Subject 2 was asked to speak into the microphone without pressing the button. Nothing happened. They were then asked to sing a lullaby before and while pressing the button, ignorant to the harm that befell subject 1. Nervous system intact. 2. After pressing the button, speaking into the microphone amplifies the receiving voice regardless of the presence of speakers. The rule writer's office is completely soundproof. However, all containment rooms contain a microphone whose speaker in the rule writer's office has a controllable volume and decibel counter. Prior to pressing the button, subject 2's voice was 50 dB. Afterwards, their voice was 60 dB. The rule writer turned his speaker off and requested subject 2 to speak again. Their voice was still 60 dB. The indigo microphone was not connected to any speakers and has no cords to do so. After turning the decibel counter off and adorning headphones playing music, the rule writer noted his music becoming silent and still hearing subject 2's voice at roughly 60 dB. 3. The user must say good night before setting the microphone down. RB 3.1. Subject 2 placed the indigo microphone on its cushion delicately after use. Glasses camera showed the indigo microphone displaying yellow sparkles, akin to the night sky, before subject 2's throat swelled shut. Their anxiety was oozing out of their nose and eyes. Subject 2 struggled on the floor, their eyes turning red and face like a bruised fruit, until their SpO2 dropped to 40. Somehow, they were still conscious and writhing. Whole body nervous system status was red. At 30, subject 2's Broca's area recovered partially, language returned like a stutter through bruised wiring. It was as though their brain itself was afraid of speaking. They were no longer squirming, and their heartbeat and SpO2 were returning to elevated but stable conditions. Subject 3 was instructed to follow the rules above, and was able to leave containment unharmed. As I watched Subject 3 anticlimactically walk out of containment, I fell to my knees and shed tears from my bruised eyes. I pulled at the skin on my hands, knowing it would not rebound. A nervous tic I shared with my brother. The director appeared. The air was sucked out of my trembling lungs as I stood to meet his gaze. The previous rule writer never found Rule 3. We can now offer this object for use, which would likely be for presentation purposes. Your report will be adopted. Adopted meant it would be used. Used meant someone would hold it. Mucus ran down my lips, sinking in the crevices and folds, mixing with my salty tears. You will get used to it. Do you know what happens to the subjects after they leave? One day, you will.